Small businesses are the now and future of India. They are the engines of economic growth and of job creation. Did you know that India has 63 million micro, medium, and small businesses? And we all know that, these businesses, they contribute, those register to 42% of our jobs. We know that when there are jobs, there is a reduction in poverty. We know that when there are jobs, there is an increase in literacy and there is prosperity all around. But there are challenges that MSMEs face. And one of the biggest challenges that they face is access to credit. Now, also, COVID's hit them really hard. There's always this fear of the third wave and a disruption of business. Now, in such a scenario, how can banks help MSMEs? I'm Miloni Bhatt, and today I'm joined by Mr. Nitesh Ranjan. He's the Executive Director of Union Bank of India. And Mr. Nitesh Ranjan is going to shed light and tell us on how banks, and most particularly, how Union Bank has helped power small businesses in this last couple of months. Sir, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me here, and I also compliment you for choosing this topic, because it's not only of interest for many stakeholders today, but the small and medium businesses, actually they are the powerhouse of India's GDP for the future. Union Bank of India is a very large nationalized bank. Government of India owns over 83% shares of Union Bank of India. And today, as I speak, we are close to $4 billion market cap company. We serve around 120 million customers through our 9,300 branches and our digital capabilities. And MSME is one of our focus areas in addition to the retail and agriculture. As a part of the vision of the bank, actually we have decided to have 50% of the sourcing of the loans in retail and MSME over the next 3 to 4 years only through the digital channel. That's how we are looking at the opportunities in the MSME segment.
So, Mr. Nitesh Ranjan, you've just set out the landscape for us for our conversation, and thank you very much for telling us a bit about Union Bank. But focusing straight away on MSMEs, what are your bank's initiatives for MSMEs?
See, as I said, MSME is a huge opportunity.
Yes.
If I look from the lender's perspective, it's a $600 billion market. And interestingly, 50% of that is the unmet demand today. We are only able to serve around $300 billion. So, Union Bank of India, our 17% of loan portfolio comprising of MSME borrowers.
Right.
And I will share one more data. While our normal share in the branch network of scheduled commercial banks is around 6%, our share in MSME business of the scheduled commercial banks is 8.3%. So, we are serving the MSMEs across our branches, and we have the bespoke schemes for various MSME sectors. We have around 29 cluster specific schemes for the MSMEs, be it related to textile, iron and steel, ceramics, automobile, ancillary, and like that. However, we have 114 specialized centralized processing centers for the MSME, through which we ensure to give the faster service, faster turnaround time to the MSMEs.
Okay. Now, sir, a lot of MSMEs, they tend to be informal in nature, and less aware of banking services. So what are the kind of difficulties that banks such as yours face when it comes to, servicing them?
Yeah, I would say the informal nature of MSME is definitely a challenge, but there is also an opportunity out of that. So today, as you said in the beginning, we have 63 million MSMEs. And out of that, more than 50% are in the rural areas. More than 70% of them do not have any access to formal credit.
Right.
That is the challenge we face. Nonetheless, now the government's initiative, particularly on the Digital India initiative, is transforming the data-driven underwriting of the MSMEs. So, and also some of the startups, these Sunicons and Unicorns that we are seeing, they are serving the MSMEs by bringing the solutions, bespoke solutions for bookkeeping, ERP, and the CRM technology like that. So that is going to definitely provide the ease to the MSMEs, and in turn going to provide the data for the banks. Now the Digital India stack of Aadhaar, GSTN, coupled with this account aggregator and the OCEN standards, they are really going to transform the MSME lending.
Yeah.
In fact, the estimates are that if OCEN framework, OCEN standard is implemented right way, it can meet $150 billion of overall $300 billion of unmet credit demand. So that is the potential that we see in the MSME. So this informal sector will also get formalized, and that formalization has already started with the government's initiatives on the Digital India.
I want to take the question on digitization a little later on, but right now, what's been the impact of COVID-19 on the MSMEs and the businesses, and then how did you guys structure your outreach to them during that time?
Yeah, see, COVID-19 unfortunately once in a century event, and it impacted all kinds of business, whether it is MSME or large. MSMEs were impacted more because their dependency on the supply chain, on the mid corporates were high. So, in fact, MSME, the most severe problem was the cash flow issue for the MSMEs. And then there was the labor related issues because there was migration of the labor to their respective home states. So, even when the businesses started to revive, these MSME found that problem of the labor. Nonetheless, we from the first month of pandemic, through our branches, we reached out to all the MSME borrowers on phone or individually to the extent possible, and tried to see what is the difficulty they are facing and how we can support them. We provided the easy line of credit, then the government also supported with the collateral free loans, that also we extended immediately. In fact, for the almost at the bottom of the pyramid of the MSMEs are the street vendors.
Yeah.
So government came with the PM Sonidhi scheme, that also Union Bank of India adopted very quickly, and in fact I am pleased to share that today we are the second largest bank in the country in terms of giving support to the street vendors.
Oh, that's interesting. So, you brought in the government, and the government has obviously said that, there have been initiatives, as you pointed out. But Niti Aayog's Vice Chairman Rajiv Kumar was speaking to us, and he said that the MSME sector needs the most policy attention, and the government will continue to do whatever that is required to promote the sector. Do you have any thoughts on that when it comes to policies for MSMEs?
I think hats off to the government. They have been continuously providing support to the MSME sector, both from the supply side as well as the demand side. You see the dynamics of the MSME sector. They are today the large contributor in the overall GDP of the country, exports of the country, and most importantly, the employment generation in the country. So, of the 63 million MSME units that we have, they are today providing almost 130 million of employment. So, therefore, the government focus is continue to be there. During the pandemic also, as I said, they provided MSME collateral free loans under the street vendor schemes, and government has so many schemes starting from the Mudra scheme, then there is a credit linked capital subsidy scheme, there is a PMGP scheme, so many schemes are there. On top of that, just to promote the MSMEs, government has decided that every central public sector undertaking will source at least 25% of their requirement from the MSMEs. In fact, they have also disallowed the global tender for any procurement up to 200 crore rupees. Then even the PLI scheme which has come, that is going to benefit the MSMEs. So, lot many initiatives government is taking along with the Reserve Bank of India. So, they also initiated the restructuring for the MSME, which has provided a lot of support during the pandemic to these enterprises.
It took a pandemic for us to do all of these things?
No, I would say it has been a continuous thing. For example, if you look at Mudra, PMEGP, these have been the schemes which are running for many years, and they have transformed many of the MSMEs who have never availed credit from the formal system, and today they are availing for the second time or the third time at the higher amount.
You spoke about street vendors. Can you tell us a bit more about it? Because as you said, we were speaking earlier, that's one of the most impacted groups. How has that experience been?
See, all of us, buy our groceries and everything from the street vendors.
Bhel puri, yeah.
Right. So whether it is a vegetable, fruits, or bhel puri, anything. So we depend on them. We buy from them. But they do not have the access to credit. If at all they have, it is from the local money lenders where the interest rate is very high. Under PM Sonidhi scheme, government decided that they will give 10,000 rupees of loan to every street vendor who are registered with the urban local bodies. So banks contacted the urban local bodies, reached out to these street vendors, and we provided them loans. So today, Union Bank of India has provided loans to more than 300,000 street vendors.
Right.
And now what we are doing, those who have repaid on time, and most of them are repaying on time. That's another point of satisfaction. Generally, we believe that people at the bottom of the pyramid, these enterprises, they are not credit worthy.
Yes.
But our experience is that whether it is Mudra, whether it is PM Sonidhi, street vendors, the credit worthiness is very high. And now we are providing them with another 20,000 rupees of loan, since they have already repaid the 10,000 rupees of loan. So there is a very good experience here in the PM Sonidhi scheme for the street vendors.
Okay, okay. Let's come back to digitization. You know, digitization and technology, these are huge drivers of growth. How have you employed all of this to power MSMEs further and to ensure their growth as well?
See, as I said, for Union Bank of India, digital is in the center of our vision for 2025. We have the next 5-year vision, and digital is in the center. 50% of our business we want to do through the digital.
Right.
But before that, I would say, if you look at, there was a survey in 2016, that survey showed that 68% of MSMEs are working offline. And of those who are working online, only 2% are actually digitally engaged. But that ratio during the pandemic has increased significantly. And in fact, India has witnessed very high adoption of digital by the MSMEs. And that's very important, because one of the Cisco report, they say that if MSMEs adopt digital, they can add $250 to $200 billion to India's GDP in the next 3 to 4 years. That is the potential. Coming back to Union Bank of India, digital is our passion actually, and we want to create customer experience leveraging digital. So some of the things that we have done recently in the last 6 to 12 months is, one, we have developed a straight through process for many of the loans. So for example, Shishu Mudra loans, which is up to 50,000 rupees of loans, small MSMEs, enterprise can avail the loan without visiting a bank branch, without talking to anybody in the branch. And within half an hour, by submitting the required information, they can avail the loan. Loan can be created in their account. So that's already happening. We have done more than 5,000 such loans. And now actually we are leveraging our business correspondent network as well as the branches to provide the assistance to such customers wherever they require for digital journey. Similarly, up to 5 crores of loans in MSME, we have the in-principle sanction through a straight-through process. No need to visit the branch. And once we have got the in-principle sanction, that just for few formalities for documentation and valuation if required, they have to visit the branch. So that is the change we have done. Similarly, of our overall MSME portfolio, more than 90% of loans are up to the ticket size of 10 lakh rupees. And there in the banking system, every year we have to review and renew the loans. So that takes a lot of paperwork and manpower in the branches. So that also we have digitized, and with using the analytics based data and credit scoring, we will be doing this digitally just by 2 clicks. 1 click customer has to say yes, another click branch has to say yes. So that's how we are going to transform. Another challenge on the digital side for the customers is on the payment systems for the MSMEs.
Yes.
Today, the physical POS machines are very costly and difficult to maintain. So Union Bank, again, I'm very happy to share that we have recently launched in a program organized by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, where we have launched this soft POS. So this enables a merchant to use its mobile phone as a POS machine. It's very cost effective and very, very efficient system. Similarly, we are very soon going to launch the MSME credit card. This will be again one of its kind in the country, which will facilitate the MSMEs to use their working capital requirements with ease and convenience.
Right.
So the entire focus on the digital is to create the customer experience for the MSMEs.
So the 2020, focus seems to be MSME and more MSME.
Right.
For Union Bank.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know, I have one last question for you. There's a lot to talk about, but how has the co-lending with NBFCs worked out, and how do you see that kind of influencing the financial landscape as far as we are concerned?
I think co-lending is again a part of the ecosystem which government and the regulator RBI is trying to develop for bottom of the pyramid enterprises and the individuals, whether it is MSME or the retail individuals. It is a very, very path-breaking, I'll say, enabler that RBI has given to us. See, today banks have the advantage of having low-cost resources and the capital, but we have disadvantage in terms of the last mile reach. We have only limited 9,000 branches through which we can reach. But if we look at the NBFCs, they have the last mile reach. They are into the nooks and corners of the country, but their disadvantage is that they do not have the low-cost funds like us. So when the banks and NBFCs are coming together, actually it is a win-win situation. Both the entities have the low-cost fund as well as the last mile reach. So I am sure that this is going to be a very, very transformative thing for the MSMEs. For Union Bank of India, we have already started working with 2 NBFCs in the co-lending space, and the experience so far is very good actually. And we are already discussing with almost a dozen of NBFCs for the co-lending partnership. My sense is that co-lending opportunity can give us almost 25% of the incremental loan book of MSME coming from the co-lending partnership.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that is the power of this co-lending.
Right. All right. Mr. Nitesh Ranjan, thank you so very much for your time and for explaining to us, the efforts that have gone into from the bank side and particularly from Union Bank side in ensuring that MSMEs continue to be powered. Thank you so very much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you once again for having me here, and wish all the viewers a season's greetings, a very happy new year. Thank you.
Well, that's it from all of us. Do stay tuned for more such lives with us. Goodbye.